StockIQ, here's our homepage. You'll notice here we have dashboards, intuitive application. The application provides information at your fingertips. This information can be provided at various levels within the application. There's a series of filters that gives us the ability to organize this information based on location. If you're in multiple distribution locations, it might be based on classing of product. So with the simple click of a button, I have the ability to filter this information and arrive at the data that I'm looking at in this particular view. Our inventory section is all about summarizing and giving you information on your inventory, summarizing data for your on-hand detail. Where are my stockouts located? Where do I have excess inventory? In a lot of cases, this information can be directly arrived at by clicking on the dashboard from the very front end. This information is further presented for you in a grid and a format that can be expanded and viewed on. You have the ability to include or exclude data fields. There are column choosers that allow you to customize the views and the look of the data that you're looking at within here. This information can further be exported for use and analysis directly within Excel. Our forecasting section. This is where we get into the core and the heart of the system. Within our forecasting system, our forecast manager is all about forecasting at individual SKU levels. So what do I expect my demand to be for a particular item in a location, potentially down into a channel level. StockIQ provides the ability to forecast at a channel level. So if you're selling through Amazon, your e-commerce stores, whatever it might be, this gives us the unique ability to come through and generate a forecast based on input coming in from a customer, for instance. Within our forecasting is very visually oriented. The forecasting is set up to leverage information that's in your ERP system. We look at sales order history. That information is also combined with on-hand balances. So if any point during these periods that we're out of stock, we have the ability to calculate a lost sales projection. This information then is analyzed. We're looking for things like trend. Where's the data going? Is demand going up, going down, staying flat? We will evaluate seasonality. Seasonality is for those items where demand might be higher in certain periods than in others. During this overall, as you're looking at it here, we see that there are periods in here where my demand is higher than at others. Why this becomes important is as we're evaluating how much stock to carry during each one of these periods, we will size our safety stock to coordinate directly with the inventory levels that we're seeing at that time in the future. So with that seasonality, we're going to analyze it. We're going to project that forward using our forecasting algorithms. You'll also notice that we can incorporate future-based promotions. These future-based promotions gives us the ability to incorporate demand that will only be occurring once. That information can also be removed from the history as it moves back in time. We also provide the ability for a collaborative forecasting process, whereby we introduce the concept of an operational forecast. The operational forecast gives us the ability to come through and make changes on this information. This information might include things like putting a lift in the forecast. I can select my forecast. I can put in a lift for a specific period of time very, very easily. I can do it at the individual item level, much like I'm showing here. I can furthermore come through and I can edit this information. So if I know specifically for a period that demand will be sitting at 60 units, I can enter that data in directly on these forecasts. Every time that I save these forecasts in here, we'll capture a forecast, we'll capture a snapshot so that we have the ability to go back in time and review this data. The other thing that StockIQ is doing is we're calculating your inventory positions. For each and every item we've gone through and evaluated, we're evaluating where it's falling from a classing perspective. Is this an A-based item? Is it a B-based item based on its performance? And is it recurring, sporadic, or slow-based demand? With this information, we can associate a service objective. We can calculate how much safety stock needs to be put in place to maintain that service objective that we're trying to accomplish. You will notice over in here that for each one of those items, or each one of these items, I'm calculating my ideal safety stock, my target stock, and my max stocking position. What this gives me the ability to do is identify when replenishments need to be suggested. So with this information, I'm generating a replenishment schedule. This replenishment schedule may be for a component item. It might be for a finished goods item. But essentially what we're doing is we're looking at all sources of demand, open customer orders, open forecast. We're looking at everything that's currently on order. So everything that's inbound that's going to be filling that bucket back up. We're projecting our inventory both in units, days of supply, and balance. And then we're calculating when replenishments need to be brought in. These replenishments replenish our inventory before dropping down below our safety stock levels. So these full plans are generated for each and every SKU that resides. This information then is converted in, and StockIQ generates replenishment suggestions. Replenishment suggestions come in the form of what inventory needs to be kitted, what inventory needs to be purchased, what inventory might need to be transferred to another facility. Very quickly, I'm going to highlight here how we summarize up the information. This is a list of all the vendors that I need to purchase from today. And these vendors, you will notice here that I have 17 items of a total of 142 that I need to purchase from. You will see that my overall total order cost on this is sitting at $36,000. Furthermore, I also have items in here that are going to be projected out of stock. Within the order wizard, this gives me the ability to very quickly analyze each one of these individual items. You can see the individual items, the stocking location that I'm replenishing them to, the status of the inventory. Is inventory high? Is it too low? Are we running into critical stockouts? I'm organizing this information also out in here. I'm going to drag this back out by my order quantity. So the order quantity is what is the quantity that's being suggested. If I have inventory that it resides in another location, maybe I transfer that in inventory versus bringing it in from a vendor. So we provide visibility to where substitutes might be available. I now know that I have excess inventory at another location. It might be better for me to transfer that product versus ordering more from that vendor. There's a series of information pieces that can be included here in the purchasing that give me additional details. How many days of supply does my order represent, for instance? Within this information, I can sort, I can filter. Furthermore, I can take these base order suggestions and, like most of our clients today who are ordering product from overseas and running into issues with transportation, I can optimize my transportation by using our order wizards. The order wizards gives me the ability to come forward and fill out a container. So if I have predefined containers in the system, I can pick the container that I have and I can define how I want to optimize that order. And if it's going across multiple containers, it will do that for me. Furthermore, once this has been completed, I've identified which items I want to order, which ones I don't. StockIQ will generate a replenishment suggestion that's published directly back into the ERP. We assign order numbers. Once these purchase orders are released back into the ERP, they're further maintained inside of the ERP system. So any changes to the dates or the quantities, StockIQ will bring that information back in. That information coming back in comes in the form of that updated PO, so we know exactly what's on order and when. So StockIQ is fully generating all of the supply recommendations based on our forecasted demand, based on our order ideal inventory positions. You can see that I'm aggregating all of these individual items. I see the seasonal patterns associated with them. Furthermore, I can bring in budget. I can bring in sales forecast. So this is a bit of a tour of StockIQ at a very high level.